Hi everyone, this is Helloangel.design. Today I am going to show you how I make this zipper pouch that you can carry and go anywhere you want. If you don't want to carry in handbag, it's very easy to make step-by-step tutorial on this zipper pouch that I make right here. I make a pattern paper and I will explain all the details. Remember to watch the video until the end so that you don't miss anything out. This zipper pouch contains a lot of stuff. If you want something like this, I have my purse here, I have my hand cream here, I have my face mask here if you're still wearing one, I have my phone right here, I have my coin zipper pouch that I make right here. You can see that the zipper pouch can contain a lot of things. Please watch the video until the end so that you don't miss anything out, and support us by subscribing. If you're a new subscriber, welcome to Helloangel.design. If you're an old subscriber, thank you for staying with us. We appreciate you all. And let's get started. And I make pattern paper for this tote bag. So I'm going to explain how I make my pattern paper. So what you are going to do, you take a paper. So the paper will be 38 centimeter by width or 15 inch by width. The top will also be 38 centimeter by width or 15 inch by width. The length will be 25 centimeter by length, and if you're using inches, measure 10 inch. So what you're going to do, once you get the measurement, you fold it into two like this. Then you have a crease in between the paper. So what you're going to do for the top, we are going to take 13 centimeter for the top. If you're using inches, measure 11.75 inch. So what you're going to do, you place your ruler or your measuring tape. You take half of 30 centimeter, you put it here, that is 15. You take half of 30 centimeter, you put it here, that is 15. That means you're getting 30 at the top. If you're using inches, you're going to take half of 11.75 inch, you put it here. Half of 11.75 inch, you put it here. That means 11.75 inch divided by 2. The measurement that you get, you put half of that here, you put half of that here. So that will be for the top. For the bottom, you leave it the way it is. That is 15 inch or 30 centimeter. So what you're going to do, you take your ruler, place it where your 15 centimeter in, you connect it down. You come to this other side, place your ruler where the 15 centimeter in, or your half of 11.75 inch, you connect it down. So this is how I make my pattern paper. It's so easy to make. The length will still remain 25 centimeter or 10 inch. So this is my fabric. I'm using African wax fabric. You can use any fabric of your choice. I have my lining and my made fabric. I'm going to pin my pattern paper on my fabric. I'm going to cut both the lining and the made fabric out together. So I will go ahead and pin it now. Once I am done pinning, I will cut it out. I have cut out my fabric. This is how it is, both the lining together. So what I'm going to do, I am going to cut out my interfacing. You can use interfacing or you can also use batting. So I will place my fabric on top of my interfacing, pin it together. Once I am done pinning, I will go ahead and cut it out. So when you're cutting your interfacing, make sure that you're also cutting two pieces. You can see that I fold my interfacing into two. I have cut out my interfacing. This is how it is. And I've also cut out my inside pocket. The length of my inside pocket is 16 centimeter. If you're using inches, measure 6.25 inch. The width of my inside pocket is 22 centimeter. If you're using inches, measure 8.75 inch. So when you're cutting your pocket, make sure you fold it into two before you take this measurement. And I also cut out a piece of fabric I'm going to use to cover the edges of my zipper. So the length is 6 centimeter. If you're using inches, measure 2.5 inch. The width is 5 centimeter. If you're using inches, measure 2 inch. And I also cut out my strap. The length is 25.9 centimeter. If you're using inches, measure 10 inch. The width is 5 centimeter. If you're using inches, measure 2 inch. So let's put our bag together. First thing that you have to do, you take your zipper. This is the edge of my zipper. I'll pick one piece of the fabric, place it like this, and pick the second piece, place it in between. So I'm going to take it to my sewing machine and top stitch. You can either secure that with a pin so that you know that they are both equal. Be very careful with the iron right here. You stitch it across. Once you stitch it across, you turn the fabric over and you come to the mat of the zipper. So I'm going to take my needle, and I've already thread my needle. I will open it like this and put them together and give it a hand stitch. You can stitch that in place or you can decide not to, but I'm going to just go ahead and stitch it together. Once I am done stitching, I will also place my other fabric, put them together like this. You can see the way I'm putting them together, and put the other side in between, and I will take it to my sewing machine and top stitch. Once I am done with that, I take my strap to my ironing board, I fold it into two, then I have a crease in between. I fold this side into that in between crease, I fold the other side in between, and I fold it again and give it a good press. What I'm going to do, I will take it to my sewing machine and top stitch. So when I'm stitching, I'm going to be stitching both sides at the same time. So go ahead and stitch that together. I have stitched my strap. This is how it is, and I've also stitched my zipper. I cut out the excess. The next thing that you have to do, you take your inside pocket, fold it into two, make sure that both front fabric are facing each other. I will take it to my sewing machine and stitch it all around. I leave this gap so that I can turn it inside out. Once I am done stitching, I will turn it inside out, take it to my ironing board and give it a nice good press. I have stitched my inside pocket, and I take it to my ironing board, give it a good press. This is the open gap right here, and I've also top stitched the top edge of the pocket. Make sure to do that, and I fold the fabric into two. I give it a good press. This is the center crease of the pocket, and I also take my lining to my ironing board. I fold it into two. This is the center crease of my lining. So the next thing that we have to do, we are going to place our measuring tape like this. We are going to measure down 6.5 centimeter. If you're using inches, measure 2.5 inches. So I'll place my pocket like this. You can see the way I place it. The center crease of my pocket, the center crease of my lining will be matched. Make sure that they are matched. And then you go ahead and secure the pocket on the lining fabric. Once you have secured the pocket on the lining fabric, take it to your sewing machine. You go ahead and top stitch it all around. Once I am done with that, this is the in between the lining, so I will also go ahead and top stitch. So I'm going to divide the pocket into two, so go ahead and stitch that together. I have stitched the pocket. This is how it is once you have done that. The next thing that we have to do, we are going to stitch our zipper on our May fabric. I have ironed my interfacing on the fabric. When you iron your interfacing on the fabric, make sure you're ironing on the back of the fabric. So this is the front. First thing that you have to do, you put your fabric together and you go ahead and use your hand to give a crease like this. Once you've done that, I will also use my marker to just mark this is the center crease, and then I will take my zipper, fold it into two like this. You can see how it is. You can use your scissors just to give a little tiny cut like that. Fold it again, take your scissors, give it a little tiny cut. Once you have done that, this is the front of the zipper, so we are going to turn in so the back will be facing up. So we'll place it like this and we secure that with a pin. So you go ahead and pin your zipper at the top edge of your fabric all around. Once you have pinned it together, the next thing that you have to do, take it to your sewing machine. You go ahead and top stitch. Once you have done that, you take your lining, place your lining on top of it like this. That means both front fabric are facing each other. When you're stitching this time, you turn your fabric, you continue from your stitch line before, you go ahead and top stitch. So go ahead and stitch that together. I have stitched it together. This is how it is once you have stitched your lining and your May fabric together. I take it to my ironing board, I give it a nice good press. The next thing that you have to do, you're going to repeat the same process all over again. Fold your fabric into two, use your hand to give it a press and place it like this on top of your fabric. Both front fabric are facing each other. This is the mat of my zipper. You also go ahead and pin them together. Once you have done pinning, take it to your sewing machine. You go ahead and top stitch. Once you stitch that together, you also take your lining, place your lining on top of it. Make sure that both front fabric are facing each other and both lining are facing each other. Both your May fabric are facing each other. So you place your lining on top of it like this. When you're going to stitch this time, you also turn your fabric, you continue from your stitch line before. I have stitched it together. This is how it is right now. You can see how it is. I take it to my ironing board, I give it a nice good press. The next thing that I will recommend for you guys to do so that your lining can sit properly at the bottom edge of your tote bag. From the lining, you place your measuring tape like this. You measure up 1 centimeter. So that 1 centimeter that you measure up all around, make sure you go ahead and cut it out. So I have cut out my 1 centimeter at the lining. The next thing that you have to do, take your tote bag to your sewing machine. You go ahead and give it a top stitch at the zipper side. You also do the same thing on this side. Go ahead and give it a top stitch. Once you have done that, you fold your strap like this. You can decide where you want your strap to be. So I will place mine like this, and when I'm stitching it, I'm going to separate it with the lining. I'm not going to pin it and the lining together. I'm going to separate it like this, and I will give it a top stitch, and I will give it a top stitch at the both sides of the zipper. I have stitched it together. This is how it is. I stop stitch on both sides of the zipper, and I've also stitched my strap together. The next thing that you have to do, put your back together like this. Both May fabric facing each other, both lining facing each other. we are going to go ahead and pin the both side seam of the tote bag and pin the bottom edge. You just go ahead, put them together like this and start pinning. I have pinning together. This is how it is. And I pin my bottom edge of the made fabric, the side seam. For the lining, I leave this gap. This is where I'm going to turn my fabric inside out. You can leave a gap at the bottom edge. Make sure when you're leaving a gap, you're leaving a gap at the lining side, not on the made fabric. I will take it to my sewing machine right now and I will stitch it all around and leave this gap right here. This is where we are going to turn it inside out. Go ahead and stitch them together. I have top stitch it all around. This is how it is. I take it to my ironing board. I press the seam apart. The next thing that we have to do, we are going to bust the corners. So what you're going to do, you open your bag like this. So we are going to take a measurement of 1 inch or 2.5 centimeter. You take your measuring tape or your ruler. Place it like this, measure down 1 inch or 2.5 centimeter. Once you have measured it like this, you take your pin or your clip, make sure to secure that with a pin like this. Take it to your sewing machine, top stitch. You come down to the other side, you repeat the same process. Open the seam apart like this, just the way that I'm doing it right now. Take your ruler or your measuring tape, place it like this, measure down 1 inch or 2.5 centimeter. It's right here. You come down to this other side, you do the same thing, 1 inch or 2.5 centimeter. And I will just go ahead and connect the mark together. Once I am done it like that, I will take my pin and I will secure it with a pin. And take it to my sewing machine and top stitch. I also repeat the same process on the edges of the lining. I have top stitch. This is how it is. I will take my scissors and cut out the excess. Once you have done that, you put your hand inside this open gap. You go ahead and turn your bag inside out. I have turned my zipper patch inside out. This is how it is. So we are going to stitch the open gap of the zipper pouch. I will just pull my lining out like this. So what I'm going to do, I will take my label. This is when I need my label. So when I'm going to top stitch, I will just place my label in between that gap like this. So I will just place a pin for you guys to see. Place my label like this and go ahead and top stitch. Once you have done stitching, push your lining inside, take it to your ironing board, give it a nice good press. I have top stitched my inside open gap. You can see how it is at top stitch. I just fold it inside. Make sure you push it inside, and once you zip it, this is how it will look. It's very beautiful step-by-step tutorial. Support us by subscribing, thumbs up on our video, make a comment down below if you have any question. If our tutorial is helpful, thumbs up. Remember, watch the video until the end so that you don't miss anything out, and you all should have a wonderful day. Bye.